Hi, my name is Grant Parker, and I'm the pastor at Epworth United Methodist Church in Phenix City, Alabama. And I'd like to share an encouraging word with you today. I once heard a story about a man who had applied for a job as an engineer on a train. So he went through his vigorous examination with a supervisor. First, the examiner asked him, what would you do if you were on a train and another train was going towards you, and you both were traveling at about 60 miles an hour, but you were the only person who knew that there was another train barreling towards you? What would you do? And the man thought for just a moment. He said, well, I think what I would do is, I think I would blow the horn on the whistle on the train. Well, the examiner said, but what would happen though if the engine was too loud and it drowned out the sound of your whistle? He thought about it for a moment, and he said, well, if they couldn't hear the whistle, then I would take the red flag, sash them around my neck, and I would try to flag them down and let them know that there was a train on the track headed their way. Well, and then the examiner said, well, that probably wouldn't work. What happens if it was at night and they didn't see you waving the red flag? Well, the man thought for just a moment, and he said, well, I think what I would do then, if those two things didn't work, is I believe that I would take my lantern, since it's night, and I would light it, and I would begin to swing it out where they could see us headed their direction. And then the examiner said, but what would happen if the lamp was out of oil and they couldn't see it because it was dark outside? They couldn't see the light because it was out of oil. And then the man thought about that for a moment, and he finally said, then I think if none of those things worked, I think I would call my sister. And the examiner asked her, why would you call your sister? And he said, because my sister's never seen a train wreck before. We're fixing to have a terrible wreck. Well, I think sometimes people treat God like that too. In the midst of our trials and tribulations, in the midst of stress and struggles in life, we often turn to God not as the first line of defense, but as a second option or the last line of defense. But we shouldn't. We really shouldn't. Because you see, God shouldn't be the last line of defense. He ought to be the first line of defense. Often people, in fact, I've seen signs that said, when all else fails, pray. When all else fails, try God. But God shouldn't be our second choice. He should be the first line of defense. The Bible tells us in 1 Thessalonians to pray without ceasing. The Bible also tells us that the fervent, effectual prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So when things are not going your way, when you're up against it, when you're going through trials and tests in your life, I want to encourage you to pray without ceasing. Turn to God first, not as a last resort. I hope you have a great day. Keep your hand in Jesus' hand and your eyes on the cross. God bless you.